Oh, 1 sec. Well, we're live now. Why?
Oh, not good. What's up, guys?
Nothing much. What is there anything wrong? We can start over if you want to.
No, man. We're good. We're good. I'll adapt.
You'll adapt.
Make it happen,
Okay.
baby. No worries.
Audio's fine. Your audio's fine. So anyway, like I said, I was doing cardio. I don't know if you know about the importance of cardio and the balance between lifting weights and cardio, but actually, I do have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Since you are a professional fitness guy, why the hell do I feel so better after running, a couple miles? Like, why? It's just a natural.
Yeah, man. Just you get that endorphin rush, and you get like it's a mental spike too, because you're doing something that's going to benefit you from a long-term health perspective, and then it's also like kind of hard. So whenever you complete exercise, you're going to be like, oh, like I just did something. I like it's like a feeling of accomplishment. So it's pretty good.
Okay, but there's, aside from the psychological aspects, we're talking biochemistry. Like it does release endorphins or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why they call it like a runner's high when they run. I mean, me personally, I'm not a big fan of cardio. I made a whole video about it. Like,
How much you hate cardio?
No, I made a video basically if your primary goal is to improve body composition, why you need to make resistance training the cornerstone of your training. Mm-hmm. And cardio is kind of like a supplement when you start hitting plateaus when it comes to fat loss.
Yeah. No, I remember I was running like 11 miles a day. And it just helped out. And like, yeah, it made you feel, but yeah, I was a scrawny twig back then, of course. And
yeah,
it just eats up all your calories of energy. But man, there's like almost like, I'd say half the days you just like, you get like, God darn it. Something pisses you off, but then you go for a run and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, life ain't too bad. So anyway, let me explain to my audience who you are. I'll have you do that, but explain why you're here. Myron and I were both on the Rule Zero seminar that happened a week or so ago. And my seminar was one of the first ones. And the numbers and the statistics were very depressing and sad. And I don't know how many decimal points were in, but I remember one of the data and statistics was that there are, for the average guy, okay, this is what you got to share communally, there's somewhere between 400 and 3,000 unicorns out there to be spread across, I don't know, 50 million single American men within a dating range. And then Myron basically comes on and says, hold my beer, because apparently that was too optimistic. And he came in, not necessarily with so much statistics, but some insights as to why it might even be worse. And since I'm older, because you're what? You're not even 30 yet, are you, Myron?
Yeah, I'm 30. I just turned 30 this year. Yeah.
Okay, but you're still, I think you're the youngest speaker we had, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest for sure.
You're the younger there. So you are the closest to the front lines, and this is a problem like old timers like me and Rolo and Rich and all that. And I think everybody else had a girlfriend, or most of us did, and that is we're getting older, we're getting further removed away, but so I don't want to lose tabs on what the younger guys are experiencing, and that's kind of why I want to have you on, because you got some insights, man. It's not just that you're younger, but you're in the dating world in different capacities that provide a lot of insight. And so I wanted to kind of get you exposed to my audience, not just because it's a bunch of old timers listening and we're curious, but we have a lot of younger guys here too. And, we'll have people in Nebraska, whereas you're in Miami. And I think all the different environments that you're in is going to provide a lot of useful information to these guys. So why don't you just tell us your background, which I don't know that much, but I just know that you're a professional trainer, and that's even your side gig, I think. But tell us about you, how you got here, and kind of the basics on that.
Yeah, man. So for first and foremost, Aaron, thank you for having me on your show. I'm a big fan. On the low, I want to tell you that on air.
So you'll get standards, and you'll find out I'm just a schmuck like you.
I've read the Bachelor Pad Economics 2 times. I think it's a fantastic book. I recommend it to all my friends. Pretty much, cool. Bachelor Pad Economics, The Rational Male. Those are 2 books that I recommend to pretty much all my friends when they're when they're ready to stop being stupid. But for the most part, guys, so Myron Gaines, I live here in Miami, Florida. I live in downtown Miami, Florida, the Brickell area, which is like the Manhattan of Miami. I've been here for about 3 years. Prior to that, I lived in Texas, South Texas. I've lived in Connecticut, New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, Massachusetts is where I went to college, Northeastern University. I rode college Division I there as an athlete. So I learned a lot of discipline habits from doing that, waking up 5 a.m. every day to jump on the water when it's cold and train. Yeah, man, I've been here in Miami, Florida since 2018. And my game really evolved when I moved here because Miami is sink or swim, baby. Like if you don't know what you're doing with the girls here, you fall in one of 3 categories. You're going to fall into a guy that has game and is able to get chicks, a trick, basically a dude that spends money to get girls, whether you're a sugar daddy or you're paying chicks straight up money for like escorting, whatever it may be, or you're just basically celibate because the women here are 1,000% cutthroat and they're very attractive. And, it's just a competitive marketplace here. We got a lot of celebs that live here in Miami. We got a lot of athletes. We got a lot of New York money, a lot of investors that live in New York City come down here periodically or have a summer home down here. So it's a very, how do I say this, tough marketplace. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to take an L. So being here has basically sharpened me to the point where when I go to other major cities and run game, Phoenix, San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever, it's not nearly the same as here. Because if you run like a night game session here in Miami, like let's say Club Lift, for example, or Club Story, one of these top tier clubs, you're probably going to run into like a Dan Blazarian or like an Offset or something. Well, Dan Blazarian is banned from Live, but you're going to run into those caliber of celebrities when you're at these nightclubs. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to take an L every time. So my thing is I just kind of tell guys, I don't lie. I don't sit there and tell them like, oh yeah, chicks aren't hypergamous. You just got to have game and you'll get girls. No, you got to have all 3, baby. Just like me and my boy John from Model Life Dating say, you got to have to get a lot of sex nowadays in 2020 as a man with all the options these women have. You have to have your money right, your muscles right, and you got to learn, basically social acuity of how to, properly convey yourself to women in a manner that's conducive to your success, without you being low value. And I think that's the thing that a lot of guys struggle with, whereas they speak to women in a manner that they would talk to their friends, when in reality, that's very repulsive to women. You can't be straight up with them. There's a whole other language that they speak, womanese or whatever you want to call it. Shout out to Donovan. But that's a general gist of who I am, what I do. And, I train guys in fitness as well. I take a science-backed lens to how I train my clients. I use all the studies, everything like that. Those videos don't get nearly as many views on YouTube, though. Everyone wants the womanizer content.
That's you have no idea, man. Like I could write the most brilliant economic piece. Yeah. And let's solve poverty. 3 people tune in. Let's solve poverty and get laid. 10,000 views.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, clearly there's here's the thing. Like what I've learned is that the reason why dating videos get so many views, especially now, because it's like the community, the manosphere is growing. Like more and more guys are coming
exponential. Yeah, I thought it would plateau, but it just keeps on going.
And I'll tell you why, because as you guys know, I'm in the game. I'm here. I'm running Instagram game. I'm running online dating. I'm doing cold approach, both day and night. I'm using all facets of the game. And what I've learned is that most millennial guys in my age group are not getting girls. They're literally struggling. And I think that's why more and more guys are awakening and realizing that, female nature, because so many guys are getting frustrated with dating and finding women and everything like that. And then you compound the problem with, pornography being for free, the video game system that we have with the video game, generation we have now, where guys would rather play video games. More and more adult men are living with their parents. You combine all these things, and it's no wonder that so many guys are being left out in the sexual marketplace. And then on top of that as well, quite frankly, girls have more options and they're more selective. The days of making $30,000 a year and driving a Kia Sophia and having a good insurance policy to get a wife, those days are done, baby. Like, these girls have more options than ever before, and they make their own money. So if the beta bucks is provided for, what's left, in the famous words of Rolo, alpha seed, right? So with that said, since women are more selective, that's a lot more men are being ostracized in the sexual marketplace because of that. So only a small percentage of guys, I argue, honestly, like in major cities, I think maybe 10 to 15% of guys are having sex with 80% of the girls.
That's kind of one of the key things I wanted to hit on. This might as well use this as kind of a vehicle to figure out your background and where you came from.
Sure.
All right. So Miami, it sounds like this is the major leagues. Like if you're talking about dating and going out, Miami is the major leagues. You got to be on your game. This is not AAA. This is not the what do they call it, recruitment teams or anything like that. Even if you go to Phoenix or something, and I thought, was it Tempe, Scottsdale was
easy
kind
mode
of,
compared
yeah.
to Miami.
Okay. So you're at, again, so this is exactly what I wanted. You are at the front line, but you've lived all over the place. Now, and you also were not as jacked as you are today. So you've had to go on two different paths, one weight loss and all that, and getting into the physique. But then is this a similar story? You started at the rookie leagues playing college ball. Then you made it to the minors, and all of a sudden you quote draft yourself into Miami. Kind of take me through that process, like, because you weren't born Denzel Washington of the Gen Z generation.
Yeah, no. So so I grew up in a Muslim household. My parents are from Sudan, and and I grew up in Connecticut. And growing up, I was always very skinny. And I'm actually going to pull up a picture for you guys right now from my Instagram, because people don't believe me when you've always been muscular. And I'm like, yeah, okay, bro. And it always makes me laugh when people say that. But yeah, I was actually very skinny before. Here, I'll share my screen real fast with you, Aaron. And you guys will be able to kind of see what I'm talking about.
Oh, here, let me add that to the screen. There we go.
There's me on the left. I was I was 164 pounds. That was taken right after my high school graduation in 2008. And then the picture on the right was taken 10 years later in 2018. It's 10-year transformation. And
how tall are you here? Because you said 160?
Yeah, I was 164, and I was 6'3" in both.
Wow. Oh yeah, you were a real dude. You were 10 pounds heavier than me.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah.
So that was me, 2008. And then 10 years later, 2018, at about 205 pounds. And so I always grew up skinny. And then the other thing I wanted to show you guys also was I actually did an experiment in 2014 where I got like fat as hell when I was living in Texas.
On purpose?
I did it on purpose. I basically like got fat. Here, I'll share my screen again. Where is it? Okay, so it's up. I'll just go all the way up to the top because I know it's up there at the top. Yeah, so this is me again on the left. This was around January of 2016 at about 240 to 250 pounds. And on the right, that's me at around getting back down to that 205. But yeah, it took about 7 months to lose that weight. That was the difference between there's January to I think about July 2016. So I did that experiment when I was living in Texas between 2014 and 2015, then lost the weight in 2016. But
were you bored? Like you just got sick of rattlesnakes and people driving real slow in Texas, or what?
No, I just I wanted to. I wasn't happy with my muscular development, so I was like, dude, I'm just gonna do a dirty bulk and see how much muscle I can gain. So I just took like a year plus to eat in a calorie surplus, and I ate too much in a calorie surplus, and I just got fat up to 250 pounds. And then I was like, yeah, no, like I need to lose the weight, and I lost the weight, and I've never been fat again since. But I did it simply by tracking my calories, watching what I ate, and then systematically cutting those calories as I started to hit plateaus and everything like that. But yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of like that's like my background of like.
That's your bodily transformation.
That's my bodily. Yeah, that's my bodily transformation. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Well, just as that, you didn't go from some 14-year-old dweeb whose voice is cracking to going to nightclubs where you're running into a Dan Bilzerian or Dre or whoever happens to show up. How did you get there, going from Connecticut to Texas to Philly to Omaha to Tulsa to wherever it was that you went before?
So I would say my game. So that's a great question, because growing up in high school, I actually played video games like at a semi-professional level. I played Halo 2 at a very high level back in like 06, 07.
Sure, back in the day, right?
Yeah, way back when I was in high school. And then after I graduated high school, I did a year in Connecticut, and then I actually transferred to Northeastern University, which is in Boston, Massachusetts. It's in downtown Boston. For all the guys out there that went to Boston University, we're your enemy and your school sucks. But anyway, but yeah, so I went there and I rode for 4 years, and that's when I really started to like. Because I had always, I read the Mystery Method when I was, like my game, I guess, story is like I read the Mystery Method my like junior, senior high school when the Pickup Artist came out. And it fascinated me. I was like, whoa, because I had always struggled with girls. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 18 on prom night, which is hilarious, but that's a whole other thing. So after that, I went to college. And before I went to college, I'll never forget, I read this book. It's by a guy named Mark Redman. It's called Conquer Your Campus. And in it, even though you could look it up on the internet now, it's just on like PDF for free. But
that's one you sent to me, right? With some of the data that I use,
yeah,
like the 3% or 20% man or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
One of the references I sent you. So I read that book, and that book explained college dynamics perfectly on how to get girls in college. Because obviously, as a younger guy, you can't leverage money and like renown as much. You got to leverage more like your status on the campus to get.
Right.
So being an athlete, I was able to leverage that. We hosted parties. Since we're Division I, we couldn't party all the time, but we would throw at least 1 to 2 parties a month. And it got a lot of traction. And I pretty much became known as the guy that would go out and recruit the girls to come to the parties. And because I naturally like had like some charisma, from playing video games for so long, yelling at little kids talking smack to me. You get that charisma because like you got to talk crap back to them on the microphone.
That actually ended up serving you as a skill later on.
It did, man.
Smack talking to 10-year-olds.
Yeah, dude. Because I kind of was known in the Halo 2 community for being a smack talker. So it made me have to be quick on my feet, and it's actually funny because I never realized it's still doing this interview with you now that like smack talking on Xbox is actually what helped a lot with developing my charisma. Because when you're in these chat rooms with these dorks and they're talking smack like your mom's, you're like, oh really? That's why your balls haven't dropped. And I just start cooking the kid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you got to play at the same time. It's a mind exercise.
Exactly. Right. So it made me really sharp with thinking on my feet. So, and I've been banned from Xbox several times for talking smack, dude, like, but several times, but for swearing or whatever it may be. So with that said, I kind of applied that quick thinking over to like running game to invite girls to parties and everything like that. And then, I did pretty well in college. Then when I got out of college, I realized, man, my like regular game is trash. Like I was really dependent upon being on a sports team, being on a college campus, meeting college chicks. So after I graduated from high school, there was a period where like I kind of slowed down. I was still meeting girls, but not nearly at the same rate. And then from living in Boston and then Texas, it was kind of slow. And then when I moved here in 2018 to Miami, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to start practicing this stuff like full on. And then that's when I started.
You didn't go even clubbing necessarily in Dallas or Boston or anything. Like you came into Miami cold and learned from the ground up in the Miami courting dating environment.
Yeah, I always I didn't really in my 20s I didn't drink like that and go out and party. I would do it a couple times a year only. When I would go back home because I was living in Texas, when I'd go home to visit friends and stuff like that, 2 to 3 times a year, I'll go to the nightclub with them and party. But that wasn't enough to get like consistent practice. So I would say I didn't like really start perfecting that game until I moved here because you here it's sink or swim. Like this is the Olympics of night game because all the top clubs in the world are pretty much here. So
okay, all right. So let's go through. There's a couple things I remember from your presentation to show how nuts it is in Miami. And I forgot when I had to write it down. I forgot the statement you made about the sugar daddies.
Yeah,
like how many of the gals? Tell them about how many gals you estimate are financed in some part by sugar daddies. So
I'll say this, man, and this is uncomfortable reality. We talked, me and my boy, Fresh Prince CEO, we crunched the numbers, and we did a Patreon video just on this. And one thing I think modern guys that want to get into dating, the modern day dating game, is that you got to understand is that the top tier girls from a looks perspective, your 9s and 10s, a lot of the time they're dealing with some kind of super high value guy that you're probably not going to be able to compete with. Whether it's a celebrity, a rapper, an athlete, whatever it may be, a lot of these girls have access to these men and or have dated them, seeing them, whatever it is. And if they're not seeing these types of guys, they have an older gentleman who's a simp. His wife isn't banging him anymore, and he'll give her an allowance. I can't tell you how many times, man, I'm walking in the street here in Brickell, and I'll see like a hot chick. I'll cold approach her. Hey, what's up? How you doing? So like, what do you do for work? And she like can't answer the question. You know what I mean? Like it's like she gives very ambiguous answers, and you can tell like just from her answers, like, all right, this girl's sponsored. You know what I'm saying? Because she'll tell you, oh, like I do art or something like that. But then in my head, I'm like, well, I already know that the building you just told me you live in is about $4,000
shoes
to live in. You know what I mean? And then like I'll look on her Instagram story and I'll see like she has this like crazy luxurious life where she's traveling, doing this other stuff, whatever it may be. And I just know off rip, okay, yeah, she's sponsored. You know what I mean? Like somebody's paying for that. And like what I think what other guys.
Well, hang on. Is that an actual term now used in commonly? She's sponsored?
Nah, that's just what me and my boy Fresh say. But like,
Okay.
so it's kind of like code word. But like in general, like yeah, like the hottest girls, 9 out of 10 times, someone's paying something in her life, whether it's her rent, her bills, her utility expenses, whatever it is. And like really attractive girls, what they'll do is a lot of especially if they live in like a major city in a downtown epicenter area, they'll have guys in like positions, you know what I mean? Like there's one guy saved in her phone as Uber, another one is foodie, another one is like, rent and bills and everything like that. And like guys are okay to do it because so many men are having a hard time in the marketplace right now that dudes have no problem just paying a chick money to get some kind of access to an attractive girl. That, people wonder, why did OnlyFans explode? You want to know why OnlyFans exploded? The reason why is because guys don't get attention from attractive women like that. A lot of men don't get it. So they pay for that experience of being able to like interact with a hot girl,
not even necessarily have sex. We're just talking like go on a date or what, he takes her shopping or takes her to dinner or so. I don't imagine they're taking him to dinner.
Yeah, I've dated several girls that tell me how they go on dinner dates and get paid $400 or $500 just to show up. You know what I mean?
God. Yeah,
just to show up. Like a lot of like older lonely men, their wife might not hook up with them anymore, whatever it may be. But like for sure, like there's a culture exploding where it's very paid up. Like it used to be kind of underground, but nowadays it's becoming more and more apparent because more and more girls are doing it. Like these sugar sites have the fastest signups. Like they're some of the fastest growing dating sites on the internet now because more and more girls are becoming curious. And quite frankly, a lot of girls get on those sites because they're tired of dating broke guys that say, hey, let's split the check, or have money problems, everything like that.
Right.
Guys, if you have money problems, don't talk about it in front of girls, because if you do, it's instant repellent to them. It's not the same as if a girl tells you she's broke. You're not really going to care because her socioeconomic status doesn't matter to you as a man, but your socioeconomic status really matters to her. So if you mention anything about some financial instability or whatever, it's going to be repellent. You're going to lose the chick immediately. So, I'm not saying go run around and say you're rich, but don't tell her you have money problems either. If you do, just don't lie.
So could we say then that, when I think dating site, I'm thinking, Plenty of Fish or Match or Tinder or apps like that. Now, and I've heard this other places before, these girls are using the hookup sites, and I mean the hookup sites, they're, for a lack of a better word, because I am pro prostitution. I do not besmirch sex workers. I think it's a legit job. But these basically prostitution sites like Seeking Arrangement or Fans Only, those are now being used as dating sites. There's not even necessarily sex going on. This is just to have the companion of a gal. And then these girls also use this as a screening process to find a guy they may be interested in.
Yeah. So OnlyFans, so for the people that don't know, so OnlyFans is basically like a subscription-based service where a girl can put out her content directly to an audience and sell her content, whether it's nudes, sex videos, whatever it is. And she can, you pay her a subscription price. And then after that, she can put content in there that's locked behind another pay price. Hey, if you want this picture of me, it's $100, and people pay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's it's kind of like Patreon, but for X-rated content. And then you got the webcam girls, and then you got obviously Seeking Arrangement, which is or Sugar Daddy Me, or any of these websites where like girls go on there and they'll either use it to find a dude that's going to sponsor them, be a sugar daddy, give them allowance, or take them on trips. Or every girl has different I guess goals on these sites. I always tell guys, you want to meet regular chicks. You don't want to deal with no girls that are looking for a financial come up, because there are girls on these sites that are actually normal. And I've actually met like doctors and stuff like that off these sites. A lot of the time you'll meet like successful women that are just tired of dating guys that aren't on their level socioeconomically. So
they're like I said, they're just using this as a screen. They may not even need the money.
Some women use it, and which I tell guys, you want to go on dates with chicks like that. You don't want to go out with like chicks that are like desperate looking for a pay per meet or for an allowance or anything like that, because they're going to give you a headache.
Hang on. Let me write that down. Go out with the surgeon, not the sociology major. Okay, good tip. Good tip for all my younger listeners. Date a doctor if you can, guys.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Some guys will go out with the chick, right, and they'll try to salt the girl, right? Like they'll how do I say this? Like the girl will say, oh, I only do PPM or whatever. And they'll say, oh, okay, well, you know what? Let's just meet and talk about an arrangement when we meet in person. And you already lost if you do that. And the reason why is because I always tell guys, don't lead with the wallet. And when you do that, you're basically like inferring that you're going to pay her. Like, you're better off just like never mentioning that and just treating it like a normal date. But if you tell her, oh, let's talk about the arrangement on the date and try to finesse it, that's when you're going to run into problems. Now, if you got a good game, you might be able to do it, whatever. But personally, me, I don't even waste my time, because like girls like that already come with a bunch of headaches that you don't even, that are far beyond financial 9 out of 10 times that you don't want to deal with. So, but a lot of girls that, you know, I know it has a negative connotation for being, oh, all the girls on their escorts or whatever. But no, there are a good amount of girls that are like, you know, make their own money. I went on a date with a girl actually 2 weeks ago that makes $250,000 a year. And she literally just, she's just like, you know, I'm at doctor's office, lawyers, and they're just like, I just want to date a guy on my level. Like, I'm tired of dating guys that are like broke or live with their parents. And that's what all Tinder and Bumble has apparently in Miami. According to them.
Well, I could be sympathetic towards these gals, especially the volume that they get. Because now the tactic is you just swipe to everything, and you throw that off to the women to respond to you. And I think Bumble now takes care of that, where the gals got to reach out to you. But it is, and this is the point I wanted to get to, kind of the arms race aspect of this. What was once a basically prostitution site are now being used as dating sites with a very high entry fee for these guys, or at least the implicit understanding that you're going to be paying for this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use these sites, there's typically going to be a membership fee of some kind that you're going to have to pay, which is actually kind of good though, because it puts the playing field. As a guy, I would say like the sugar sites are the best. Like, they're the best sites because the girls actually come correct on them for you as a man. Like on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, like the girls are very annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like if you say something like, hey, what's your number? Because I'm a big advocate when I coach my guys. I tell them, when you're on like the regular dating sites, Hinge, Bumble, etc., you need to get the girl off the app immediately. And the reason why is because they're so inundated with attention on there, and they're getting spammed so much that you need to basically start building a compliance ladder immediately. You know, sex doesn't happen without compliance. So getting her off the app quickly is very important, or getting a phone number, one of the two, because you got to break the crazy noise that's on the app. And then also it's to see if she actually likes you, because a lot of girls, half the game nowadays in 2020 is discerning girls that want to actually date you and meet you versus chicks that are just seeking free attention. Because a lot of girls use dating apps as a validation tool to see where they stand in the sexual marketplace, how many matches they can get. And they just
kind of get this guy or that guy, that kind of.
Yeah, like girls will sit there with all their friends and they'll like swipe, you know what I mean? Oh, he's ugly, haha, and they think it's fun. It's just like a way to pass the time. Like, a lot of girls don't use Tinder, Bumble, Hinge seriously. So you want to immediately weed out those girls right away by trying to get them off the app. If they don't, or they say some BS like, let's talk on here more, whatever, I just don't respond, or I unmatch them, because quite frankly, volume is your best friend when it comes to meeting and getting girls on dates. So you can't afford it. You can't afford wasting time on chicks that are not compliant. You know, set up your profile the best you can and just start immediately getting rid of, like, people. When I do like night game, or when I'm out running game in general, I run basically, is she DTF game versus like, oh, I hope she likes me. Like, I don't care about impressing a girl. You know what I mean? Because she's going to know within like the first 10 seconds of meeting you if she's interested or not. So yeah, you could sit there and build attraction, but why do that when you can go kick her to the curb and go talk to another girl that, you know, is going to be more compliant? And here's the other thing. When you quickly charge girls, they start to respect you more, because they're like, whoa, I can't string this guy along. I need to like, you know, I've had it before where I'll approach a girl at a nightclub. I'll talk to her. She'll give me some BS. I'm like, all right, cool, no worries. And I'll just leave, go talk to another girl. She'll see me talking to the other girl, and then she'll come back around and try to talk to me again. And I'll literally look at her.
Well, I think my audience we're not that rookie noobish. We kind of know that much, like, you know, scarcity and things like that. But
with online dating is what I'm trying to say.
But what I'm kind of interested, just again, I'm always trying to draw lessons to learn. And most of my audience probably, I'd imagine, are in their 30s. You would say it's then in people's best interest, because this is an arms race as far as I'm concerned. I find it fascinating to watch. If you're a guy in his 30s, or just say you're a successful young 20-something guy and you're making good money, it's almost worth your time to go and pay the monthly fee or the annual dues for seeking arrangement or whatever, because it would save you the time. I don't know how many buddies I have my age or around that age, or even younger though, they just are wasting their time swiping. and on these dating apps, and they complain and complain. And I'm like, well, stop. But then they say we got nowhere else to go. But it may be worth what is a seeking arrangement? What can one of these dating sites set you back per year? Well, not date. I guess they are dating sites. What can these prostitution / dating sites now run a guy in a year? Not without him paying a sugar baby.
So I think seeking is dependent upon like where you are, but I think it's somewhere between $50 to like $90 a month.
Okay.
And but I think so. Here's the thing with all the dating apps, like a big reason why a lot of people fail is because their pictures aren't good. And I talked about this like at detail on my show on Monday, but in general, just to go over it real quick. The thing is that online dating apps, like especially like Tinder, they're mostly dominated by men. So only about 22% or so of the user population is female on Tinder. So to be able to stand out, you need to have good professional pictures with like cool backdrops. And the problem is that most guys take awful pictures for their online dating. And that right there is the root of 99% of the problems. Because a lot of guys say, oh, online dating is only for the top percentage of guys. Yeah, top percentage of guys that take good pictures. That's the difference, So even if you're not the best looking guy, if you take good pictures, you'll still be able to get a good amount of matches. You know what I mean? Especially professionally done photos that show your eyes. Like a lot of guys make bad mistakes, like taking selfies, wearing glasses in their pictures. Right. Like these are all things that are going to absolutely kill your sex appeal on your online dating. And the only thing is that so if your profile is set up well on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and then you migrate those pictures over to a sugar site, you're going to do really well. But if you have crappy pictures, even on a sugar site, the chicks are going to be like, all right, this guy's ugly, but he has money, and then they're going to try to put you in the customer frame. They're going to try to like pretty much like, or the sugar daddy frame. Hey, pay me an allowance. They're immediately going to start trying to S-test you when they talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's basically what it is. You got to have your profile set up well, and then when you do, you'll be good. But I will say this on Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble, like the girls are a little bit less compliant because they don't necessarily know where you stand, and most of the guys on like those free dating apps are lower value. So chicks are always gonna like be a little bit harder to do. They're gonna be less cooperative than on a sugar site because on a sugar site you already have a higher perceived sense of value.
And I'd also surmise there's a lot less men on a sugar site because you got to pay.
Yeah, okay. There's less. There's a lot more weirdos though, like like dudes that won't show their the dudes that won't show their face, guys that won't like, you know what I'm saying? They won't show their face, or they'll have like some weird fetishes. Like I can't tell you how many girls I've dated. Oh man. I got some crazy stories, but I'll tell one. Basically, like, I used to see this one girl, she would get paid like $1,500 just to show up at a guy's place, beat him up for like an hour, put him in a cage, and then whip him when he was in the cage and just say degrading things to him and put her heel on his face. And he'd pay her like $1,500 to do that, and she would leave. You know what I'm saying? So guys have some crazy, yeah. Dudes like to ask for some weird stuff, yeah, it's just wild stuff.
Well, and everybody in the chat room, hold off on the super chats because I do want to interview Myron here and get this in. Another thing I found interesting and related to just this escalation. Now you got to go to a sugar site, which are the new dating sites, and most gals have some kind of a chaperone or not a champion. A sponsor or something like that. Yeah. You were talking about how even now you're a very handsome, in shape dude. You also have game and you're polished and everything like that. But even you won't go to a nightclub if you find out that there's a celebrity there, because these gals are going to be all about him. Is that the case, or did I hear that wrong? Yeah, no. So, so here in Miami, we have a very strong celebrity culture here. And what I mean by that is that like there's always celebrities in town here to some degree. Like all the top rappers have a house out here. Drake, Lil Wayne, all these guys. I mean, I even told the story how Lil Wayne took a girl from me one time. But in general, if I was like planning to go to, that's why I don't go to Miami Beach like that. Miami Beach is like it's a tourist trap. And I always tell guys, if you come to Miami and you're going to party Miami Beach, don't spend all your time there because you're going to drop a lot of money. Quite frankly, it's not worth it. And you can stay in a much nicer place like Brickell for a much better price, and you can walk around. It's safe for everything like that. But with that said, since there's so many celebs here, yeah, like if I'm going to go to like a club like Live or Story,
I'm not going there if I know Future and Drake are going to be there. Like, no, you know, or the Weeknd or any of these other guys.
So, and that just showed, I find it fascinating because Drake and whoever the other guy was, I'm terribly not up on modern day music.
Good.
Just their presence can monopolize what 1,000 women can fit in that club, or a couple hundred women.
Yeah, a couple hundred. Yeah, I mean, you can still go and run game. It's just that, like, to me, I feel like the return on investment is going to be low. Like, you can still go there and run game and try to meet chicks. Like, don't get me wrong, but like going there and getting a table when those guys are there, all the hottest girls are going to go to their table. So you're going to get left with scraps. You know what I'm saying? Because every girl that's like a 9 or a 10 is going to them off rip.
Right. And that's what I find amazing is they all think they stand a shot.
Yeah.
Like just two guys, because one of the, you know, we could talk, here's another one. We could talk about that Pareto assumption. Here you have the most extreme example where two guys, or maybe just one guy, being present takes away all the interest of the other girls, that they're not interested in a guy like you, where it's like, dude, you're 6'3", you're in great shape, make good money. No, not interested. And so we see this, Roller would call it hypergamy. Look at the Pareto rule. This is increasing now. So it used to, we look at, say, the OkCupid research. There was a college study. I couldn't for the life of me find it, where they lined up 100 college girls, 100 college guys, and the 80-20 rule came in again, where only 80% of the women would only sleep with 20% of the guys, or something like that. You're saying that's even getting worse now, or certainly where you are in Miami.
Yeah, I personally think in Miami and a lot of major cities where there's a lot of attractive women, New York City, Miami, LA, etc. I personally think that all the girls are dealing with probably only the top 10 to 15% of guys, personally. You know what I mean? Because I can't tell you how many times, like me and Fresh, we'll be on a dating.
Fresh? Who's Fresh? Is it the Fresh Prince? Who is this Fresh guy? Nobody knows who. Tell us about, paint the picture. Is he tall? Is he short? Does he wear a purple shirt? Who's Fresh?
Yeah, Fresh is my boy. He's my business partner, Fresh Prince CEO. He's like he's an Instagram professional, pretty much. Like he sources all his tricks from like social media. Like he has, right. I don't know anyone else that runs social media game better than this guy, better than that guy. So he's my co-host on the Fresh and Fit podcast, which we're gonna have tonight at 6 p.m. on my channel, guys. We're gonna talk about night game actually, but in general, what was I saying? We're talking about
Fresh, your buddy Fresh. We wanted to know, just run around with a yellow hat. Give us info on Fresh.
No. But what was it before that? You were asking me a question.
About I was curious about how the ratios are now. You say 90 to 10, like 10% of the guys will take up 90% of the gals.
Yeah, I personally think it's actually closer to somewhere between 10 and 15% of men are having sex with 80% of the women nowadays.
Okay.
I think women have become more selective, and with the internet, dating apps, social media, Instagram, etc. Like women are being even more selective on the men that they deal with because they have access to them now. You know, a girl that was in, let's say, in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, you know what I mean? Now she can message a guy like me in Miami and say, "Hey, you're really hot. I'd like to come to you." You know, which I've had that happen before. You know, so whereas if she had never had the internet, right? She could have just like dealt with her localized.
Sure, the guy's in Akron or whatever.
Exactly. So like now the world has become smaller and has become globalized, even on the sexual level. You know. So yeah.
So now that, not just because of COVID, but because of social media, you basically have to run social media game. Like you're talking about how Instagram and you just like, and you still do run, day game and nightclub game, and you go up in person. But explain to my audience why it's all, you were convinced that it's all online now, especially for the younger guys. But explain why.
Yeah. So in this today's day and age, the digital media age, digital social media age, like as a guy, for you to be able to pull the best looking girls, if you want to max out your chances, having a good social media is almost required. And the reason why is because women are inundated with so many options that when you number close her or you get her contact information, she's going to want your Instagram, right? Because she's going to want to size you up.
That's right. It wasn't a phone number. It was Instagram. That's what you have to have. Okay.
Yeah. So especially if she's younger, if she's like in her 20s or whatever, and you say, oh, I don't have an Instagram. I'm not saying you can't pull the chick, but what I am saying is you're definitely handicapping yourself, because girls are always going to ask for that. And especially if you meet them on online dating, they're going to say, what's your Instagram? Because they're going to want to verify that you're not a catfish. So so on online dating, it's even more important. So if you, and the thing is this, if your social media sucks, she's going to automatically perceive you as lower value, unfortunately. Like, because girls take social media much more serious than men do. About 56% of Instagram users are female, and then women dominate men on pretty much every other social media platform except for Facebook. So with that, knowing that women put a lot of stake in social media, it's in your best interest, right? If you want to be like a modern day Casanova, to max out your Instagram so that you have everything set up where, she can't, because if your Instagram sucks, she's going to use that as a reason to disqualify you, because women have so many options that when they're dealing with guys, they're looking for reasons to disqualify you versus qualify you, versus men. When they meet a chick, they're like, oh, I'll qualify this girl. Like, oh, she's a little fat, but you know what? I could drink 2 beers. Ha, 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 I'll do it, right? But women don't operate like that. They're like, yo, I'm looking for a reason to cut this guy. So if you have low value pictures, if your Instagram is like whack, she's not going to want to deal with you.
It's basic optics. Just having a good IT guy or a good camera, even.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and this is especially apparent with like younger women in their 20s. Everyone wants to date hot 21-year-olds. This is the game that you're gonna have to play them, because they put a lot of stake on their Instagram. So you need to make your Instagram very attractive to just max out your chances. I'm not saying it's required, but it's definitely gonna be like a huge advantage if you have a good Instagram setup. Because here's the other reason why it's so important. When she follows you and she looks at your profile and she looks at your stories, it's what I call passive demonstrations of higher value, just like passive income, right? And what happens is she's going to see your story. She's going to see you living your life. And if you have a cool lifestyle, she's going to want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Me and John talk about this, how for modern life dating, women thirst trap with their bodies, men thirst trap with their lifestyle. So if you're able to show that, girls are going to like start DMing you and hitting you up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, why then do you still run, if it's all online, why do you still run in-person game, be it at a nightclub or in person during daytime or whatever? I mean, is that just for fun, or is there a return on investment there?
Well, you mean like doing like cold approaching?
Yeah, like here's an interesting scenario. You're at a gym, and from the sounds of it, there may be a cute girl at the gym, but because of modern day rules, well, you better not ask that. Plus, you don't want to poop where you eat. So you generally have a policy not to do it. But then it's probably more likely you find her online because you're within the same zip code. She finds your social media account or Instagram. You're more likely to go out with a girl online first than you are if you were to approach. Yet for some reason, you still find it worth your time to go to a nightclub. You see a cute girl, you'll ask her out. So I'm kind of curious why you personally still, if everything's online and that's where most of the market is there some value still in approaching traditionally?
Yeah, no, for sure. And the reason why is because you still have to learn interpersonal communication. And the thing is that, if you have a great profile, right, and a great Instagram, nothing's going to be more disappointing than you show up on a date and then you're like socially awkward. You know what I mean? Like the girl's gonna be like, oh my God, like this is such a big letdown. And she's going to lose attraction actually faster for you, because one of the biggest turnoffs to women is incongruency. If you purport yourself to be a certain manner and you like fall short of that, she's really going to get like lose attraction even faster, So I personally think cold approaching and I still cold approach even now. I actually released a video on how to cold approach during the beer bug, with the mask on and stuff on my YouTube.
You and Troy Francis got to get together.
I did. Shout out to Troy Francis, man. Me and Troy, we see eye to eye on a lot of different things. I love talking with Troy, but yeah, like in general, I like to cold approach because it keeps me sharp personally. If you're able to generate conversation with a woman you don't even know, right, and build attraction, there's just like this really cool sense of accomplishment, and then also it keeps your social skills sharp because it shows that you can like pretty much carry a conversation with anyone. Now, with that said, I'm not going to lie, it's going to take a lot of approaches for you to actually close. The top guys in the world close about 10%. So if you're closing 5-6%, that's still pretty good. And yeah, it is a lot of work. And I know a lot of people say the juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's cool. I mean, that's your choice. But I enjoy cold approaching, and I do it because it makes me sharper. And the thing is that, if it's going to make you, so here's the other thing too, you can translate those skills that you learned from cold approaching, and that's, you know, those like comebacks, the witty banter, passing of the S test, all that other stuff. You can apply that to the date when you go with a date on a girl, with a girl, because on my first date, close rate is really high, and I attribute a lot of that to having the good verbal skills from learning game in nightclubs in Miami, and then also talking to chicks in general, just like cold approaching, because it makes
don't forget the most important skill, or why you need, is it comes from smack talking, playing Xbox 2 or Halo 2 on Xbox. That's where the real conversational skills are honed. You gotta.
There you go, man. I gotta clown these haters. You know what I mean? So on Xbox, man, I used to like. I'm really competitive, so. Yeah, I used to throw my controller, break it. I used to play, you know, I'm just a very competitive guy, but yeah, so that's why I like cold approaching. I still think it's very important for men to do it, especially nowadays. If anything, I think guys need to do it more nowadays, because too many guys rely on online dating and texting and communicating through some kind of digital medium. Instead, get out there, talk to people in person. Because here's the thing: when you're able to generate a conversation from scratch with a stranger, and you're doing that to a girl, she's immediately going to remember you for that, because most guys can't do it. So when you do it, you're going to stand out, and you're going to break through the pattern of noise, and then it's just going to make you more attractive, you know. And it's
I've also found that because I do occasionally get the female client, and this is another thing. Like, I'm trying to keep tabs on younger people via you, and I kind of consult my female friends that are younger, though they're dwindling because everyone's getting old now. But it is shocking how bad men are at dating in person.
Yeah,
like
really.
One guy was like, hang on, let me repeat that again. It didn't come out the way I rehearsed it. Like, rehearsed, you're rehearsing. And yeah, it's, I was curious why you did, maybe because you had success, and you certainly do. But yeah, you have to be, inevitably, if you want to sleep with the girls, you will have to talk to the girls, and you have to be in person at some point in time. And even if you wanted to get married, you know, the conversation, you do not have the time to craft this wonderful text or this very precisely worded email. You got to be charming Johnny on the spot. And in general, you got to be who you are, but you got to throw yourself and be in the presence of gals and interact with them. Otherwise, you're just a dead fish in the water.
Yeah. And that's why I think cold approach is so important, because if you can cold approach a girl and carry conversation, it's going to be very simple for you to translate that over to a date and come off as attractive. You know, like, I think that's one of the biggest things that guys struggle with women, is being able to carry conversation in a manner that makes them attractive. You know, because a lot of guys are very matter of fact, and they'll basically straight question, straight answer, versus like kind of teasing the girl, making fun of her. You know, you got, like, I mean, I always tell guys the analogy is this: like, you got to treat a girl kind of like a cat. And when you throw a ball of yarn at a cat, right, the cat will play with the ball of yarn. And if you move the ball of yarn, the cat will continue to play with it and chase it. But once you leave the ball of yarn stagnant, the cat eventually gets bored, stops playing with the ball of yarn, and walks away. Yeah. That's exactly how women operate when when they're talking with men and interacting with men. Like, they need some kind of, because I hate to say it, but like, women are fundamentally, well, I always say it, but like, women are fundamentally incapable of leading a man within the confinements of a relationship. And especially early on, when you're dealing with a girl, you're probably going to need to lead the conversation. Well, actually, you're not going to need to. You have to lead the conversation.
You have to. Yeah, no, you're there to entertain, basically, until she proves otherwise.
Yeah, and the thing too is, I wouldn't say entertain. I would say that you need to lead the conversation, because if you let her lead the conversation, she's going to talk about stuff that isn't conducive to your success as far as getting laid. Because I always tell guys, you should be trying to get laid on the first date. Like, you have to go for it, because you need to basically let the girl know off rip that she can't string you along on 3 different dates, or like use you or whatever it may be. Because like, if she makes it out and you didn't bang her, she's like, oh my God, I barely made it out of that one. You know what I mean? That's a good sign, because when she
never had that happen to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Every girl was banging my door to come back for a second date.
So if she goes out with you on the second date, she already knows what time it is. So I think it's very important to establish the frame early, that you're not a guy that waits. Because if you establish the idea that, oh, I'm a nice guy, I'll wait, whatever, she's going to punish you for that. She's going to make you take her out on 5 dates. She's going to want to go on dinner dates. She's going to start and she's going to lose respect for you too. Because she's going to be like, all right, this guy doesn't have the balls to actually try to fuck me. So, okay, I'm going to milk him as much as I can. And then right before she thinks that she's going to bang you, If you come off as beta, she's gonna be like, she's gonna start ghosting you.
Right.
So I
my
would
girlfriend, her boyfriend just broke up with her. She needs me very much right now.
Yeah.
What, in your perspective, like 5 years, I'm shocked how quickly dating has changed. I haven't even dated, on the market in 5 years, but I've just seen it. Do you chart this up just to social media and the sugar sites and Tinder and the apps? Is that where this warped? Because women's expectations were already pretty delusional, and the data I was pulling were from married people. So we're talking from boomers on, so we're looking in archaic prehistoric history, ancient times is where I'm pulling this data, because that's where the data is. But this acceleration, is it largely just because women now have unlimited men on the internet and unlimited attention, and now this just kicks everything into hyperdrive and an exponential battle?
That's an excellent question. Let me just grab a quick energy drink, and I'm going to answer that, because that's a great question.
All right, I'll get a water too.
All right, I'm back, guys. Man, the chat is on fire. You guys are going hard in here. So, yeah, this chat is on fire.
What are you drinking? You got your Red Bull? What do official Halo?
No, it's just like some energy that's here in like Miami that I just started drinking.
What is that? What did that come out last 3 minutes ago? When does it go away?
It's brand new, man. We're on the Carnet.
Yeah, I bet. Here, look at this old man soda water juice. This is what gets me through there. Yeah, there we go.
So, to answer that question, I attribute the drastic change in the dating marketplace to a few things. Social media, absolutely. You know what I mean? Male attention is at an all-time low now as far as value goes. I'd suggest everyone read The Mystery Method from Eric I forget his last name, but The Mystery Method book. Obviously, everyone here probably knows about that.
Isn't that like 20 years old though?
It is old, and here's the thing. His theory is spot on. Talking about, female attraction triggers, what women look for, leader of men, provider and protector of loved ones, all these different attraction triggers, which are very important to have so that you can be attractive to women. But his application is a bit dated. I'm not going to lie. Using canned openers and number closing, that doesn't really matter anymore in 2020, but the theory behind it is great. So I would say the things that have changed are definitely social media has made women not value male attention, right? Because they get it for free now all day. It used to be where you would set a date with a girl and she would be excited to see you. She'd want to go on a date. She'd look forward to it. Now girls flake because they just get too many offers. You know what I mean? So it's literally highest bidder wins is the dating marketplace that we're in now with girls. The next thing I would say is that the sugar dating thing has been exploding, and it's basically given women a way to deal with high value men from a financial perspective, which is kicking a lot of other guys out to the curb that just quite frankly can't compete, right? And then in general, women are getting hit on regardless. But I would say social media and dating apps have made it has made it difficult for men to date women normally, because women's expectations of men have gone up significantly. And the funny thing too is this, Aaron, I ask this question all the time when I go on dates. I ask girls all the time, what percentage of men do you think are sexually active? Every single girl, I think maybe only one girl got this right, pretty much tells me 50%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. And it goes to show what I've always said, that women don't understand the plight of men whatsoever. You know what I mean? They have zero clue about how much men struggle in the marketplace, and this is why self-improvement is so important, because, girls don't care about your problems. No one cares about your problems. The only person that can fix your problems if you do have a reproductive problem is you. Now, I know we got some MGTOWs in the chat that are talking about, I don't want to deal with chicks.
Yeah, don't worry about the chat. Like I said, I wanted to hear your experience, because you didn't take a normal path and you have practical, interesting stuff to report. So go on about.
All I was going to say was, if you want to exit the marketplace, I understand. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But because it is much harder for men nowadays. But with that said, it could still be done. You just got to put the work in nowadays. The days, like I said before, where just having a good job and a house, being able to secure a wife, that's not good enough anymore, unfortunately, because women make their own money. And as a matter of fact, women out earn men in a lot of major cities, which Aaron, I'm sure you know about that as well, with your financial background. But like in general, I would attribute the two things. The three things are this: social media, online dating apps, and then the sugar baby explosion, because more and more girls are getting into that every day, man. That's exploding. And these three things, I would say, have made it very difficult for the average guy to get into the marketplace. So he's really got to be on this game nowadays.
In your opinion, I don't know how many conversations you've had, but it's certainly going to be more with younger gals than I have as of recent. Do they actually think that they stand a shot with a Drake or a Dre or or somebody, a Dan Bilzerian, any kind of celebrity? Is it more just for the entertainment, or is, and not to go old rote rehearsal with Rollo Tomasi, but do, all of a sudden they're 29, maybe then they start thinking about it. But do these gals, like, I got to know, is it this warped dating world, which is increasingly getting more warped as this arm race continues on? Is it just because, well, we can get away with it, it's fun now? Or do these gals actually think, like, let's say there's no doubt a gal you've been dating, she thinks she finds someone who's higher value, and maybe that guy is because he's a celebrity, but she gave you up, which indicates to me, it's like, well, boy, man, I mean, you could have had this guy who's a pretty high quality guy. Are they actually that deluded, or are they just having their fun phase right now? And then maybe Myron will be back when I'm ready to settle down, type of thing.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I'll actually, so yeah, no, definitely they will go and hook up with a celeb and like kick you to the curb, and they're not really going to care, because especially girls nowadays, the thing is that women are encouraged to kind of like have fun in their 20s, you know what I mean, and do their thing, and then don't settle down until they're older. As I'm sure you know this anyway, because we live in a front world where women
not that much has changed since I was around. There's some parallels. It's just a lot faster now. Yes.
So girls definitely have this mentality, like, live life wild, young, and free when they're 20. So I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've dated girls. I used to see a girl that used to go out and get flown out by Future. My boy Fresh, he's seeing a chick that she's still seeing Drake. So. It's not uncommon when you're dealing with like attractive girls to like be sharing them with some kind of athlete or celeb or whatever it may be. So I would say they just do it because they can. I mean, there's a whole. If anyone here is actually curious, you want to see, take a big red pill. Go ahead and Google on YouTube Selena Powell, and she has a whole series called Thought Training 101. And in the first episode, which I'm always intrigued that she says this, but she says, if you're going to deal with a rapper or an athlete or whatever, you got to DM him this way at this time. And then when he invites you over to hang out, you better be about it. Because if you show up at his hotel and you don't give him sex, they're going to kick you out right away. And that's why I always tell guys, don't let a girl try to leverage sex against you, because if it's a high value guy, she's going to give it up right away. You know what I mean? So, just move on to the next girl. But or don't bother going on more than like 2 dates, But with that said, it just goes to show that like, a lot of girls DM these celebrities and will get access to them. They'll get invited to a party. They'll get invited to come out and hang out in the studio, whatever it may be.
Sure, on the boat or whatever. Sure. Right.
Yeah, if they're hot enough, So, yeah, man. Like if a girl's attractive enough and she shoots a high value guy DM, he's gonna respond for sure.
What and I guess maybe one of my final questions I got is, you're in the major leagues now. You're in Miami. You're at ground zero. How much would you say this applies to other cities? I know you say it's easier in different towns, or it's easier in every town, as you think Miami's probably the toughest league. How applicable is this to other men living elsewhere? Or are you in a very extreme, because of the celebrityship and the nightclubs and the culture and everything? Or is this applicable across the United States?
If you can pull girls here, you can pull girls anywhere. Like that's, I would say Miami is like training, for all my DBZ fans out there, it's like training in 1,000 times gravity.
Oh, no. Oh, you had to. Oh, God. See, you look like this in shape guy who has it together. You're drinking your power drinks, you're cursing at people and then you watch Dragon Ball Z. Oh, my God. Oh,
yeah, it's like the equivalent of being, 500 to 1,000 times gravity here in Miami. Because, like, I'll tell you this, when I was in Phoenix, I went out to Phoenix to go see John from Modern Life Dating was here, so I went out there to go see him. He doesn't come to the U.S. office, so whenever he comes, I make an effort to go see him. He's a good friend of mine, man. I love John. And when I was in Phoenix, I pulled a girl every night, and it wasn't that hard. Whereas like, it would have been way tougher to do that, like in Miami or New York City or whatever. I personally think Miami is the hardest because the girls here are very attractive and they can demand it. And then on top of that, it's a very what can you do for me city, and then the competition is crazy.
A lot of money down there. I mean, there's a ton of old retired. I mean, I've been through Jupiter and the north side. I'm like, gee whiz, that
a lot of money, man.
Yeah, that patch of grass is worth more than my entire house back in Minnesota. But I'm more asking for men who aren't in Miami, who aren't a 10, is it going to be easier for them in, say, Vegas or, well, I don't want to say Seattle or Portland because they're just ugliest people on the face of the planet. Denver, Dallas, Chicago, I'd even say Kansas City or St. Louis and places like that.
For sure.
Are they facing a worse ratio than 80-20? Is this now more a common thing where the girls, a significant percentage of the population is sponsored? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is it getting worse in other towns? And is Miami just like an exceptionally competitive market?
That's a great question. So I would say Miami is an exceptionally competitive market, but I'll also say that cities that are on this level of difficulty, and then also like as far as like girls being sponsored, definitely Los Angeles, definitely New York City, Boston has some, Chicago, the bigger major cities. I would say, yeah, Texas has a few as well. But I'll say that, if you can run a game in Miami, you can run a game anywhere. It's like you can automatically translate these skills to other places. And then Texas is also, I personally think Texas is one of the best places to live in the U.S. if you're going to, here or Florida, because no state income taxes, cheap to live, gas is cheap, food is cheap.
Girls were hot. When I did the study, that's where a lot of gals were in shape and no kid. Yeah, no, it's down in Dallas.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say the only thing is, I don't, San Antonio, no. San Antonio has the highest obesity rate in the United States, but like Dallas, Austin, Houston, great places to be. But in general, I would say other cities aren't going to be as bad as Miami when it comes to like, the sugar daddy culture here. Like it's very strong here. It's very strong in LA. LA might even LA might even beat us with the sugar daddy culture, to be honest with you. It's pretty bad. Vegas as well has a lot, but in general, if you can make it here, you can game anywhere. But I would say other major cities aren't as bad as here when it comes to like the percentage of, I would argue probably there's more guys that are getting sexual access to women in these other major cities versus Miami.
Okay. What about, do you think Miami and these other places like this is a portender of things to come? That, because 5 years ago, the technology probably didn't exist for OnlyFans. The idea of a sugar daddy site was maybe just a gleam in some entrepreneur's eye. Sponsorship, I love that word. She's sponsored. You think this is going to happen across, increasingly across more and more cities and states within the United States?
Sadly, yeah. Yeah. Because me and my buddy, because me, Fresh and our buddy, who he doesn't like to be, I won't say his name, but
say Bob or something.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, Bob. We study the stuff. We're looking at the numbers, and he gave me some crazy stat that the sugar sites are like growing at an exponential rate, and most of the new signups are women, and it's exploding. So I say, like, it's going to become the norm soon, I think, and more and more girls. Because here's the thing: Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, slowly they're becoming basically funnels to get people to go over to a girl's paid content. Like Tinder, especially like in Miami, Tinder basically a lot of the hottest girls on Tinder use it solely to push you to their OnlyFans, their Snapchat Premium, or they put their Cash App or Venmo on there. They got no shame. You know what I mean?
Three links and that's it, and that's all you got.
Yeah, they don't even use it. Or another thing they do is, and my stripper friend, she put me onto this. A girl that I see, she told me that I use it to bring guys to the club. Like I'll use it to get guys to come meet me at the club so that they'll pay her for dances and everything like that. So, a lot of women are smart and they're using these dating apps to kind of leverage their own businesses and make money off guys, because a lot of guys are having this reproductive problem. And, women, there's, clearly if guys weren't having a problem picking up chicks, OnlyFans wouldn't be exploding the way it is, and pornography in general. So there's clearly a reproductive problem for a lot of men. And I think it comes down to guys not understanding that you got to get out there, talk to women, be attractive, all these things. A lot of guys don't want to be bothered with that, and they're like, I'd rather just pay for OnlyFans or whatever it may be. Which, if that's your choice, that's fine. But there's definitely like a whole economy behind this because less and less men are getting sexual access because guys that get sexual access don't need that stuff.
And that's what I'm afraid of. But by no belittling of you, but I'm worried that you're going to be the canary in the coal mine, where this Miami will be the new normal. Lord knows what Miami will be in 10 years. So if this is coming down the pipe, what do you recommend the average guy do? Well, let me not say the average guy. If a guy wants to date girls in this new battleground, as it were, in light of you have to be on social media, and you could still run an in-person game if you want, but in light of especially the sugar sites and these trends, what do you recommend the average guy who wants to date do, who's willing to put forth work and go out and put forth the effort?
Man, excellent question, Aaron. This has been an awesome interview, by the way, man.
I got notes, man. I sit down. I'm not going to waste your time. I want my audience to be ready.
Aaron told me.
Had I known about your addiction to Dragon Ball Z and pathetic energy drinks, we could have done that. But we won't besmirch you already than you've besmirched yourself.
Yeah, because Aaron, guys, it's funny because Aaron was like, I don't prepare questions. I'll just, we'll run it on the fly. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we're doing an interview. I'm like, whoa, this is like crazy organized.
Well, I thought about it, and then I was like, the more I thought about, like, dang, you did have a lot of interesting stuff to say. I want to make sure I captured some main things. Was just
so I would say this, quite frankly, I wish I didn't have to say this, and I know this is going to sound cheesy, but as a guy in 2020, if you want to get the sex life of your dreams, where you're basically dealing with multiple girls, you're seeing multiple girls at a different time, you have different dates set up for the week, etc., there's no way around it, man. You got to self-improve nowadays. Game isn't enough. I hate to say it. Like, it's just not. The days of being able to go in a nightclub and pull 20 numbers and set up, have all those chicks, like, a good majority of those women show up and not flake on you, those days are done, baby. Because, like, girls get inundated with attention nowadays, so like they don't value male interaction the same way they used to 20 years ago. So the only way you're going to put yourself up in the totem pole to actually get the access to the attractive women is you got to self-improve. You got to get your money up, you got to get in good shape, and then you just got to learn game. And when I say game, like, a lot of guys think like, oh, learning game is like manipulating women. No, man, game, there's different ways to interpret it, but basically game is, simply put, game is your methodology of attracting, retaining women that you like from a sexual standpoint on your terms, right? So that you get what you want. You're not getting put in the friend zone, right?
I think most of my audience know what game is.
Yeah, but like a lot of people have like this negative connotation that like it's like some cheesy pickup lines, whatever.
Yeah, or A, B equals C, and then they think it's a formula, and it's not. I think I think the majority of my audience is just fascinated with this because, like I told you, we're the old retired guys who used to play the game.
For sure.
We used to play sports ball or football or Dragon Ball Z or Halo 2. And we're like, it's like, oh, let's see what the young kids in college ball are playing now. But we do have some of the young guys, but I think some of the young guys know about game. But what I'm really fascinated about is some of the literal takeaways that we could take from this and certainly provide more. I didn't mean to interrupt you here.
No.
But I think we all know to get in shape. I think we all know, one thing I'm shocked about is Modern Life John's dating 101 seminars. It's like brush your teeth, use deodorant. I'm like, who needs this? He's like, dude, you have no idea how many people don't have their dads out there. But I think generally we know to get in shape. We know to brush your teeth. We know dress somewhat fashionable. But one that probably didn't know about is a lot of guys have horrible pictures on their dating profiles. Take good pictures. Don't wear sunglasses. Yeah. Another one, you have to be on Instagram. I had no idea. I thought like people still had their cell phones, but you have to have.
It's not required, but like I heavily suggest you have it, man. Like it's gonna hurt you more than help you if you don't have one. So go ahead. Sorry.
What? No, that's what else would you throw into? I know we had the three main ones, but anything else or specific details that go along with it or tailorings?
Yeah, man. And I say, once you get those three things going where you have you're working on self-improvement, then you got to get out there and cold approach. It doesn't end there. A lot of guys think I'm just going to make a lot of money and be good. No, that's not good either, because if you make a lot of money, but you don't have any game, girls are going to look at you like, okay, I can take this guy as a trick. and then boom, next thing you know, you're paying a chick $1,000 a week for an allowance to have sex. So you know what I'm
An
saying?
allowance. I love it.
Yeah, you know, because these girls will you know, leverage their sexuality against you in return for some kind of financial compliance if you let them. So
Wait, hold it. Myron, thank God I'm sitting down. Are you saying women use their sexual prowess to get money? What?
I know, bro. I found out yesterday.
Man. Oh. For such a young man, you have insight, sir. I mean, this is news to me. I am shocked.
I was pissed. I found out yesterday. I was like, this is some BS. What do you mean? But no, man, I would say just dress fashionably well, right? Especially for the older gentlemen that might be in here. Guys, no dad shoes, no dad Nikes, no dad jeans. You know, you got to wear modern.
You say my New Balance shoes are not fashionable. These are not good enough, right?
Oh yeah. What are those?
It's a New Balance, the greatest running shoe ever, man.
Basically, just don't wear whatever Aaron's wearing on camera right now.
Oh, okay, okay. That's fine. That's fine. You go show your Dragon Ball Z poster collection. You see where it gets you a little bit further.
I gotta hide it when the girls come over. Gotta hide it. But I would say, you know, that the self-improvement coupled with getting out there, guys, talking to girls, cold approaching, even if you get rejected, man, just like learning how to speak to women and not like stammering or being nervous or sweating or stuttering or whatever, that's going to go a long way towards like developing your confidence so that when you speak to women on one-on-one on a date, you'll be able to operate in a manner that's nice and efficient. And it'll just be automatic, you know?
How's the salsa dancing down there? Is it good?
Oh man, it's crazy. I know a guy that just runs straight salsa. My buddy, he's an attorney. His brother just runs straight salsa dancing game. Yeah. That's the main sourcing method. And he like sleeps with chicks off that.
I used to teach ballroom dance for quite some time, and I didn't ever make it to Miami. I've been to Miami, but I never danced there. But I was Orlando and Tampa, and boy, that came in handy. That really came. That and smoking cigars comes in handy. So any kind of, I've always found dancing a good intermediary if you're not comfortable talking to girls for a young guy to get acclimated to a woman. Yeah.
And here's another pro tip too. I tell guys all the time, if you're on a first date and like you're a little nervous, like to touch the girl, whatever it may be, drag her to a bar and jump on a dance floor. 10 minutes on a dance floor is going to be like the equivalent of like 2 to 3 hours of escalating physically touching her. Because when you're dancing with her, now you have, how do I say this? You have plausible deniability to be touching her all over the place. So when you get off the dance floor and you do it, it's going to be much more natural. I always tell guys, like, when you're on a date with a chick, you got to touch her. And every move that you make needs to be congruent to the move prior. So for example, you don't walk up to the chick, oh, hey, my name is Myron, and then like just try to stick your tongue down her throat, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, surprise.
You don't. These great insights. My God, I've been doing it all wrong this entire time.
You want to like touch her first on the small of her back, guide her somewhere, touch her hair a little bit, then eventually like kiss her, so that like every move prior like made sense. But like a lot of guys like will just go from like 0 to 100, like haven't touched her the entire day, and then like, hey, come here, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she's like, whoa, So I would say a dance floor is an excellent way to quickly move up the Keno ladder.
No.
So that's a great.
Well, cool. Well, you got some time for some super chat questions?
Sure.
Okay, let's bang these out. I don't think I've missed any of them. Nonstop Dre, he's a regular for $2. Xbox live chat was savage in the Halo 2 days.
He knows.
Yeah, he's 23. I think he's a little younger than you.
Yeah. Captain Teabag was my gamer tag back in the day.
Nonstop Dre again for $5. I know girls in college near me here in Southern California with sugar daddies that are paying their tuition, rent, and other bills. It's very common.
Facts. It's huge in Southern California. That's why I'm saying like LA might actually have Miami beat when it comes to like the sugar dating.
Yeah. Fresh Prince CEO, and don't worry, guys, I'm gonna log in, and we'll get back to any missed super chats because I don't want to leave people hanging. X Gamer played World of Warcraft and Smash professionally. Wanted to date hot women, made a mindset shift, and I'm here. Instagram models on repeat. Myron, no, but you have to translate that. Instagram models on repeat.
So my boy, that's my guy. That's my business partner.
Is that Fresh?
That's Fresh Prince CEO.
Oh, we got to meet. Oh, Fresh Prince CEO. Okay, Fresh Prince. Oh.
He lives down the street from me, and me and him do a podcast together on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But like this guy, bro, like he is I've never seen anyone source from social media as their sole, like he does cold approach with me and stuff like that when I need him to, but in general, he sources all his girls from Instagram, all of them. Like he uses it as a sourcing method only, which is like nuts. You know what I mean? Because only top percentage profiles can do that.
Do you do you foresee the time that a skill like what the Fresh Prince CEO has, where you're that good at your digital game, you could source gals, like, you know how to, and I'm sure you have consultants, like you could probably take a look at a dating profile and say, what the hell is this?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. I do it all.
But yeah. Okay, but somebody with an IT background, I presume Fresh Prince has an IT background or something, or knows SEO optimize, something he can translate the algorithms, and would that be worthwhile for someone to take a look into?
Yeah, so like me and Fresh are actually working on an Instagram course right now to like max out, put your Instagram on steroids solely for like dating. You know what I mean? So like that you can get like use it as a sourcing tool to meet women. Because Fresh has like a bunch of advanced techniques that he uses with like ads, hashtagging, all this wild stuff that like that he does. But in general, I foresee that like, Instagram is definitely going to be, if you use it correctly, it is the best dating app in the world,
Okay. But we're talking things like keywords, taking advantage of search algorithms. I mean, I know it's nerdy and techie, but you got to get every possible advantage you can.
Yes. In today's marketplace, yes. And Fresh, like, he's like, there's no one I know that does it better than him. Like he's and I'm not just saying that to BS her because he's my friend, but like he's one of the few guys that like I ask him questions about social media, running social media game. Like and there's not many people that know more than I do about that. He's one of them. Like he knows what he's talking about with that.
He could almost write a book. Unfortunately, once the book was published,
we're making that course. We're making that course, and he's written a lot of the curriculum for it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
For the social media.
And boy, put that behind a paywall, man, because you don't want people at Instagram getting that and then saying, hey, we got to change the formula, guys. And then that thing's obsolete the next month.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're going to release that probably at the end of the year. But it's going to be strictly like how to put your Instagram on steroids to get chicks.
We have Osama Abdu for $5. 10% of all men in the U.S. make $100,000 plus. If you run the numbers, few men can afford to be a sugar daddy. I say 5% at best if you run the numbers. Aaron Clary, Myron Gaines, your thoughts?
That's very true. He's 100% right. Yeah, about 9% make over $100,000. And if you truly wanted to have like a sugar baby, yeah, some of these chicks want like a couple thousand a month. So, yeah, I mean, I've never done it. I've never paid a girl a cent, but I do know because they've told me how much their sugar daddies pay them, how much a lot of these girls are earning. It's like either $300 for a dinner date or a meetup, $300 to $500 for a meetup, and then sometimes it's like $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000 a month an allowance. So it's like wild, like what these girls get.
And just as an economist, I could tell you this, guys, with this becoming more socially accepted, that you could be a sugar daddy, but and in my opinion, everyone's a John, every guy pays, whether you're married or not. But with these guys flooding the market now, they're going to, I mean, the gal you probably could have dated 10, 15 years ago, you can't, because you're not going to just give her money. I mean, the competition is too fierce. And I remember doing the research for the seminar I did. This is just marriage, and this is all gals, that they surveyed. They want men who make 58% more than what the average single guy makes. And that translates into about $65,000 a year. That's average. If you want to go pulling 7s, 8s, 9s, and knowing what I know about math and marginal mathematics, marginal economics, you're the $100,000 mark is, you want an 8, I'm especially going into the future. Maybe it's not at that point now, but if you want an 8, you almost are going to have to be making 100,000. That's what my numbers corroborate. That's what I imagine. Certainly, Myron's experiences in Miami corroborate. I mean, heck, 100 grand probably is nothing in that neck of town.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheaper to live in Miami than people think, than other major cities. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like if you want to be a top tier guy, you got to. That's why I tell guys, like, you better not get an LTR or married unless you have a couple of things in place. And one of them that I mentioned was you need to be making at least 100 grand a year living in the United States.
Right. Scott Ludke for $5. Have you met many women worth long-term dating, or is it just messing around? From your point of view, Are there many women? Are there many women even looking for long term?
Man, that's a great question. I always say this, man. Like, pretty much, guys, I want you guys to internalize this.
She belongs to the streets.
Unless she proves otherwise. Because the thing is that you know, the thing is, you guys, with women nowadays are encouraged to have a lot of bad habits that are not conducive to a good long-term relationship. You know, they're encouraged to be promiscuous. They're encouraged to put off having children. They're encouraged to be strong and independent, which is code word for not follow your lead, to be for them to be less agreeable with their male counterparts, for them to have a 50-50 type partnership relationship. And quite frankly, even though this stuff all looks good on paper, it doesn't work. You know, it only works when there's one leader in the household. It's got to be the man. If it's the woman, it's never going to work, because women are fundamentally incapable of leading a guy. So with all these bad habits that are encouraged in Western society for a relationship, this is why marriage rates are declining. This is why the divorce rate is so high. This is why 80% of divorces are initiated by women, because
this is why none of the women in my dance classes could follow. That's another thing. That's
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is why the divorce rates are so high, and like the family units are disappearing, because women are adhering to these principles that, quite frankly, are destructive for long-term relationships. So I tell guys, the only way that you're going to combat this kind of this relationship dysmorphia that we're in is, I did an episode on this on my show, 5 things every man needs before he even considers a relationship or a marriage. And it's make $100,000 a year, have 6 months of savings, have a 50 lake count, and damn, what else was it?
50. Geez,
bare minimum 50 lake count. And the reason why is so you can discern girls that are worthy of a relationship versus girls that aren't, and you'll know. And you'll also like have experience with women to kind of like know what you're doing. Like sexual inexperience like will punish you a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Because like girls will tell you, oh, I'm sugar and spice and everything nice, but you can't see the red flags because you're not experienced with women. So I say 50 lake count bare minimum. And then you got to be 35 years old, you know? So I say these are the things you want to definitely have in place before you even think about a relationship. And it's going to take time to acquire. So I would say for the most part, it's very dangerous to get in a long-term relationship or marriage in today's climate, as everybody in here, I'm sure, already knows. But I would say have those things in place, and then just put a girl through the vetting machine to make sure she's worthy of a relationship. Because quite frankly, most girls are not, man. And they have bad habits that are going to ruin the relationship anyway. So you got to be very, I guess, careful who you bring into your life.
Judd Grover for $2. Nothing funnier than when harem girls want rings. Digi Nomad for $5 Canadian, 140th in Cancun. A better ROI is joining the 1099 crew. Myron, will you marry? Aaron, I await your book. Afterthought after your research. Help Chad. I don't know what 140th in Cancun means. Better ROI. Yeah.
I think he's talking about how many girls he goes 1 for 40 doing approaches. Is what he's talking about.
Okay.
That's pretty good, bro. So that's about what I go in Miami. When I do night game and night game in Miami, I'm going for somewhere between 20 to 40. So that's pretty good, bro. Good stuff.
One out of 40 getting laid, not just 1 out of 40 going on a date.
Okay. That's 1 out of 40 approaches that he's able to close. So that's not bad. He's asking if I'll marry. Bro, that's an excellent question. The only way I would get married with the way the laws are set up here, man, is I wouldn't do it legally. I would only do it Islamically, and I'd probably get married to a woman from an Islamic background. You know what I mean? They're from the Middle East somewhere.
How's your mom and dad think? I mean, are they proud? I mean, because my old man's a pastor, and you could see him begrudgingly say, "What does your son do?" Well, and you could see the curves on his, like, he can't say he's proud, but he's got this idea. I mean, your folks kind of, what's little Myron up to now?
Yeah, my mom is constantly sending me pictures of like chicks from like Egypt and Sudan or whatever. You want to marry her? You want to marry her? I'm like, bruh, like, I'm like, chill, man. I'm not, I ain't ready. But like, but when I do decide that I want to have a family or whatever, like, yeah, definitely probably going to deal with a girl that has some Islamic ideals from one of those countries. Now, with that said, I'm not delusional, guys. I understand full well that bringing her to the West is going to Westernize her. But you know, it is what it is. I'm going to have to probably just like mitigate it best I can. But that's what I would
go. What's Carterum? Is that or is that Chad's main town? What's the main town in Sudan?
Oh, Khartoum.
Khartoum. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. You wouldn't go back there for.
Nah, I don't like Sudanese girls. I'd probably go with a Moroccan, a Jordanian, an Egyptian, Saudi Arabian, maybe. No, not Saudi Arabian. Never. But like, I'd probably get a girl that because I grew up speaking Arabic, so I'd want a girl that like speaks fluent Arabic because my Arabic is rusty. You know, obviously the kid will be able to speak Arabic, and I'll have someone that's fluent in the house and everything like that. But that's way down the road since he's asking me. But yeah, I mean, I would have to be very careful how I go about it because obviously bringing her over here is going to change things significantly. But I'd have to figure that out.
And then he asks, Aaron, I await your book afterthought after your research. Yeah, it wasn't an afterthought when I came up. This was originally a book idea that I had. Also, I wanted to know the research to see if it corroborated what most guys' experiences were. And it did, by the way, if you were wondering. You're not insane. But I was going to turn, but it also served as a good speaking topic for the Rule Zero guys. Are we caught up? No, we're not. This is the problem. Myron, it's sad. They throw all this money at me and they never let me go. I feel like a strip. Now I know what it's like to be a girl on the internet on the fans only account.
Yeah, man. This is great. Aaron should start an OnlyFans.
Yeah, no. I want to know.
Hey,
Timmy, you know him?
Yeah, he's one of my guys. Thank you, Timmy, for the support.
Okay, thanks.
He's from Australia, man. Really good guy, man.
Yeah. And then M2PG4 for $2. I thought you were on vacation. M2PG4. I just said I'm not doing asshole consulting. I still am going to do the podcast. I still have to write the book. I just don't have time. And I already promised different people that I have a bunch of asshole consulting requests to do. I can't leave them hanging, but I'm taking no new clients for the next 2 weeks. But I was going to have Myron on anyway. Cool. I think we're caught up. Awesome. Well, listen, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, what services you offer? Because I know you and your buddy are coming up with a class on unlocking the algorithm of Instagram. That sounds interesting unto itself. But tell everybody about your website and different projects you got going.
Yeah, man. So guys, we're in the process right now of building our podcast studio. It's almost done. We might be able to shoot our first live show there next week. But in general, guys, get on our Patreon, patreon.com/freshfit. That's where me and my boy Fresh Prince CEO put all the unedited content on how we deal with chicks. We put receipts in there. We had a fun weekend with some strippers that came to hang out with us. You guys definitely want to check that out. We went on a boat and did some other stuff. So you guys want to see that stuff, get on the Patreon. We also do.
Out of curiosity, what did you go to school for? Are you even doing what you went to school for?
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, I went to school for criminal justice.
Okay. Do you work in that field, or would you rather not say? Because I find out it's amazing how all these guys on the internet, like, yeah, I went to school for this, but I'm not even doing any of that.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, in general, so yeah, get on the Patreon. We have all that content on there, and yeah, man, it's a lot of fun on there. You can get in for only $5. We're gonna go live on my channel in about 30 minutes, 6 p.m. We're gonna talk about Night Game 101 live. We'll open up the phone lines, answer all the questions, and yeah, man, patreon.com/freshfit. And then if you guys want personal training, coaching, just hit me up on Instagram on UnplugFit. That's UnplugFit is my handle for all my stuff, Twitter, everything. And yeah, man, Aaron, thank you so much for having me on, bro. Because like this is awesome. Like I went from reading your book to being on your show. This is great, man. Like,
you'll find out as you get to know me, it's not that great. It's just like, you ever watch our Dungeons and Dragons? Since you're Mr. Dragon Ball Z, I could show you how nerdy I am. You ever watch our Dungeons and Dragons games with me and Rolo and the gang?
No, but do you guys play Warhammer?
No, we can though. Rolo plays Warhammer.
Dude,
I want a game.
I wanted to get into Warhammer 40K for the longest, man. Now that I got a little bit of money, I might go buy my Tau set that I've been trying to get for years.
Okay, you know what? I look up the Masculine Geeks because you are a geek. Look up the Masculine Geeks because they talk about geek right now. They're the ones that host the game.
Okay.
But yeah, no. If you set up a Warhammer, we might have some guys ready to play.
Yeah, dude. Like I've always wanted to get into it. I just never had the money for it growing up as a kid. So like now I'm like, dude, should I do this? Like I can do it now finally. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I am going to get myself? You ever collect coins when you're a kid?
No, I collected Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards.
Okay, some similar to that, baseball cards. You know, some are rare, there are others. So there's this wheat penny that was very rare. It's a 1909 VDB. And it's the one collection most kids didn't have because it's so rare. I'm getting that here pretty soon.
Yeah, I guess we're all showing our nerd stuff here. I also played Overwatch at a really high level too. Which I don't know. Well, I don't know if you know that game, but people in the chat probably know. I played a McCree. I made it to Grandmaster level, which is like it's like in the top 3% of players. But I gave it up once. I gave up video games when I moved to Miami. But
I was about to say, you got to hide all your cool stuff when the girls come over because they're gonna say, "What's this? What's this?" And
I just gave it all up, man. I was like, dude, I can't do this stuff no more, man. Like this is a huge distraction, and it's gonna kill my game. But like, I definitely grew up as a nerd. Playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon, red version, blue version, yellow version. Huge gamer growing up, Super Smash Bros, all that. So. I have that's always going to be a part of me, man. That's why I identify so much with guys in this community because, I'm there ain't really that much of a difference. Like the only difference is I kind of figured things out with chicks, but I'm still the same guy.
You went to the gym. Yeah. But you also went to the gym and you put in the work. Right. Judge Rory got snuck one in here. Claire, you think you could handle dating in 2020? No, I'm too old. Like if you gave me my energy and strength, above all else, my naivete, like my innocence and hope back when I was younger, sure, but now, no, I wouldn't. I'd be done. All right, Dre here again. This is what they do. Then this is how they keep us hooked. Dre for $2. That's awesome. Myron's in shape with a game and a geek. Yeah, that's. Anyway, take a look at those masculine geek guys. I'll hook you up maybe next time, and if I'll run it past them, see if they want to do a Warhammer game. All right.
Yeah. I'll tune in and watch it because I have never seen a game live, so I'll check it out for sure.
They're not the greatest, but you'll get an idea of how it looks. So
it's a lot of rolling. All
right, that's it. Like I said, guys, Asshole Consulting is closed for 2 weeks. In the meantime, go occupy yourself with books, other people's podcasts. Tune into Myron's show tonight if you're a younger guy and want to pick up on the basics of game and the not so basics. Then also, for those of you, anyone who's tuning in from your channel predominantly, because most of the guys on my channel don't need this, I have a minimalism seminar coming up on the 25th of October. If you're interested in that, reach out to me. You can email me at Asshole Consulting. I'll do that. But that's something you can take a look at. But that'll be going on between now and when I resurface for Asshole Consulting. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Myron. We'll see everybody later. Toodles.
Thanks for having me on, dude. This was great.